Today I came across something that deepened a feeling I've had for a very long time. Redemption. I just discovered Project NATTERJACK, the RCMP's internal after-action review of the 2022 Freedom Convoy. Though it was quietly published in 2024, I hadn't heard of it till now. And like so many revelations over the past 2 years, it only strengthens what my intuition was screaming back then. Welcome to Wake Up Canada News. I'm Brad Wilder. This next article was written by Stevland Ambrose. When the convoy began, I didn't know how it would unfold. I couldn't predict whether it would stay peaceful, whether something would go wrong, or whether I'd later regret speaking up. But I saw the propaganda for what it was: overheated, coordinated, and even weaponized. Claims of white supremacy, vandalism, arson, terror plots, all delivered with theatrical certainty and zero scrutiny. I took a risk in defending the convoy while the events were still unfolding. I didn't have access to the full picture even, but I trusted my instincts, and in the end, I never felt the need to backpedal because nothing ever happened that justified the hysteria. The protest remained peaceful. It remained grounded, and it was legal. That's not my opinion, or even Stevland's. That's the ruling of Justice McLean of the Ontario Superior Court, who issued that statement during the convoy itself. Despite how many times Trudeau, Jagmeet Singh, and others declared it an illegal occupation, it wasn't, and the evidence just kept mounting. Through the Public Order Emergency Commission, we learned that CSIS had told the government in advance that there was no evidence of foreign influence or terrorism funding. FinTrack had found no spike in suspicious transactions linked to convoy fundraising. OPP intelligence officers had stated plainly no credible threat of extremist violence. But then in 2024, Justice Mosley of the federal court ruled that invoking the Emergency Act was unconstitutional, unreasonable, and illegal. And now Project NATTERJACK reveals that federal officials pressured RCMP intelligence analysts to frame the protest as ideological motivated violent extremism, even though that designation didn't fit. Analysts were flooded with hourly briefing demands, rushed into producing assessments, and in some cases, reports were misattributed or distorted to fit political expectations. Even more disturbingly, RCMP officers on the ground suspected that the now infamous swastika photo was staged, possibly orchestrated for media optics. Yet, no one in law enforcement or mainstream media appeared interested in verifying who the flag bearer was or why they vanished, despite the photo being used in Parliament to justify invoking emergency powers. That absence of curiosity was the point. And the persecution continues. Convoy organizers like Tamara Lich and Chris Barber remain entangled in legal war of attrition. And even more chilling is the case of Tony Olenek and Chris Carbert, men arrested, the two guys from Coutts, Alberta, in the protest in Coutts, not Ottawa, cited by the government as central justification for invoking the Emergencies Act. They were acquitted by a jury of conspiracy to commit murder, yet sentenced to 6.5 years on lesser charges and recently denied parole, despite being model prisoners with no violent history, scoring minimum risk, holding steady jobs, and showing no threat to public safety. Yet they were denied parole because of their ideological beliefs. Parole officers and board members explicitly cited their Christian convictions, opposed to mandates and skepticism of government as evidence of ongoing risk. They were penalized for, appealing their convictions, for expressing anti-authoritarian views, and even for referencing the fact that exculpatory data had been wiped from their phones. This is not justice, it's not public safety, and it's not rehabilitation. It's the punishment for dissent. This is wrong-think enforcement, and yet many Canadians just don't care. Because by the time the truth emerged, the damage was already done. The flood of propaganda had convinced millions that the convoy was hateful, violent, and dangerous. So when the government abused its power, people cheered. When it broke the law, and they shrugged. And when the courts and intelligence agencies later confirmed that the threat was grossly overstated or entirely fictional, most Canadians simply moved on. But the public's indifference is not an accident. It's the lingering effect of the very lies used to justify the crackdown in the first place. We were told the convoy was a threat, so the government used exceptional powers to crush it. And now, because people still believe the convoy was a threat, they don't care that those powers were used illegally. It's not just unjust, it's deeply human, in the worst way. We are a species that struggles to say, maybe I was wrong. We double down. We rationalize. We trust the punishment because we never question the accusation. I used to imagine that in tyranny, people were united against their oppressors. But now I realize that tyranny turns people against one another, making some glad, even ecstatic, to witness the excessive punishment of those they have been taught to hate. This report is one of the pieces of the puzzle. For all the references and footnotes, please see the description for all the details on this episode. Thanks for watching Wake Up Canada News. Please like, share, and follow us on all your favorite socials. Till next time, remember that you're the voice, and it is time to make it count. I'm Brad Wilder, and I'll see you soon.